Joining me now, Congressman Mike Rogers. He's chairman of the House Intelligence Committee and a former FBI agent. Good to see you, sir. And so she is a brave woman, because that's a difficult subject to speak out on, especially when there's a fatwa on your head. Is there a reason that the connection between this faction of Islam is not discussed more? In other words, the First Lady got criticized for not specifically referencing what kind of group we're talking about here.
Well, I mean, absolutely. And if you look at when the Americans arrived in Afghanistan, Megyn, it was against the law to teach your daughters how to read, right? So we've been dealing with this since 2000 and 2001 directly in the United States. And that belief is rooted in some form of Islam. And what we've had a terrific difficulty in doing is getting imams to moderate their preaching on Fridays to their congregations. And that has to happen. And Islam has to take ownership in these kinds of activities, because you find it in Nigeria, you find it in Cameroon, you find it in Libya, you find it in Yemen, you find it in Afghanistan, now you're finding it in Iraq. This obviously isn't an aberration, it's a problem that they need to deal with.
What do you make of the fact that some of these Muslim groups have come out and you know, at least on paper, condemned this Boko Haram? Is that meaningful, or is that cover?
Well, I think it's a good start, but it's only cover if it doesn't continue. If this is just one event, and of course this got national attention and everybody's doing the hashtag on it, that's great, except we have women in Afghanistan that need the same care and attention that the rest of these young girls need. Same with Yemen, same with the other places. I mean, we're getting ready to walk away from the women of which we've asked to participate in society in Afghanistan. What a stain on our national character. It's going to happen in Nigeria if we do that. It's going to happen in other places around the world.
And let me ask you about that, because Ayaan Hirsi Ali had her honorary degree revoked from Brandeis, and she had her invitation to speak at commencement revoked as well, because she's been a harsh critic of Islam in general, but she's been fearless in talking about violence against women in the Muslim world. She's one of the main ones who points out what happens to little girls in places like Afghanistan. Should American universities be shutting that speech down? It's a very dicey subject, even if you've made, because in essence you criticize Islam to some extent when you point out what happens with honor violence.
Well, candidly, Megyn, I don't understand when universities shut speech down from someone like this who has the courage to stand up and say there is violence against women. There is a path for reform. It's not like she's condemning Islam in total. She's saying that there is an opportunity to reform Islam, or at least moderate its position on how the religion, and mainly how it teaches young men to treat women in the religion in places like Boko Haram, or Al-Shabaab, or Al-Qaeda, or in the Taliban. And I think that's her voice is incredibly valuable as we try to understand those differences. And my argument is there should be more people from Islam, more imams, joining her call for this moderation of Islam. If they really do believe that this is wrong, what Boko Haram is doing, then we shouldn't stop there. It has to be a holistic approach and start pushing back. Otherwise, we're losing this. More Al-Qaeda affiliates, more behavior just like this is on the horizon if we don't stand up. And again, I'm disappointed in the university for not allowing her to speak and allowing her voice to be heard in something that I think is as serious as you see with these 300 girls who are now captive, being sold as slaves, being married off. Some we don't know where they're at.
Right. Turns out she had a lot to say on an important issue. Great to see you, sir. Thanks for being here, Mike.
Thanks, Megyn.